Hey guys, I'm here with John Bates. It's an honor to be here with him, and if you don't mind telling us a little bit about your church, just so they know.
Sure. Pastor Freedom Fellowship International, been here for 10 years. Was formerly Evangel Temple Assembly of God. We now meet in the former Buffalo Creek Theater.
Okay, cool.
And I have 3 services on Sunday morning and keeps us busy.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. I have a couple questions, just leadership questions for the class we're doing. Just a couple of things, just to learn more about being a leader, things that you do as a leader and stuff like that. So, how did you get into this leadership position? How did you get into this role?
Okay. This is my second church to pastor. Pastored First Assembly in Corsicana for 10 years, and now this church for 10 years. My grandfather and my father were both ministers. My wife's grandfather and father were both ministers, pastors of churches. So I really had a desire to do anything but be in ministry, but that wasn't the Lord's desire. So this was about 18 when I really answered the call to be in ministry, and then worked at 3 churches before pastoring the first church.
Wow, that's awesome. So you have a lot of experience then.
I think so.
Yeah, cool. What have you done to become a better leader? What are some of the steps that you have done, or that you are doing to become a better leader?
I think the main thing was learning to hear the voice of God. Without that, be a good businessman leading a church, but not a good pastor.
Oh,
so I've really had to learn to have a keener ear to hear God's voice, and then a keener obedience to do what He says. So to me, that's the secret. And so how am I advancing in that? Listening more intently and obeying more exactly the voice of God.
Wow, that's good. So what are some of the challenges? I know as a pastor there are challenges, and there's, especially with the new church that you are building and stuff like that. What are some of the challenges that you have faced in this leadership position?
People.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, there is no perfect church, and so I mean we're all about people, and I call it not getting caught up in the ABCs of church world, which is attendance, buildings, and cash. And it's very easy as a lead pastor to let that be your motivating factor. Attendance matters, of course. That's why we count people. Buildings matter to house the people. The cash is important to make everything flow. But I found that when my attention is on all 3 or any one of those things, the spiritual life begins to ebb. Jesus said, if I be lifted up, I'll draw all people to me. So as we focus on the Lord, and the more we do what He wants and make services about Him, the other things happen through the process of loving God. The attendance goes up. The buildings, the Lord begins to provide and move supernaturally to house the people that He's sending. And the cash flows because vision is cast. So I think that has been my biggest learning curve, is not to be about the ABCs of church, just be about Jesus.
Yeah, that's good. And what are some of the tools that you use to build the leaders around you, or to not only for them to build the leaders there, but for the leaders that are there to help them grow?
Okay. We have a very precise discipleship program that all of our people going through membership class go through 4 weeks of DNA class my wife and I teach. Then they go through our encounter retreat, which is a weekend taught by our leaders. And they would have one person that trains them through that weekend as their mentor. And then they meet weekly for 16 weeks with their mentor. Then after that, they go through membership class. Then they go before the elders, and then they're approved by the board. Then they're members. We have 3 areas that they can serve without being a member, which can be our 4. I guess it's parking, usher, greeters, and our cafe. But as far as them serving people or ministering into people's lives, we really want to make sure they're vetted. We keep our leaders fresh by they're required to always be involved in mentorship, always searching out and having an accountability partner. And then my wife and I meet with our top tier of leadership, our elders and our staff, we meet with those couples personally once a month and just make sure they're doing well. We have books every month that we go through. Every staff member and elder reads a book a month. And then in turn, those people that we meet with then meet with 5 other couples themselves and do the same thing, a face-to-face meeting with the couples. How are you doing? How's your relationship with God? And then that filters down through the church. So there's a lot of discipleship and accountability. We have 2 tracks of discipleship, one for new converts and one for people who have already been grounded in church, maybe religion, or maybe we draw people from all denominations and belief systems. So it really centralizes the core of what we believe. So everybody goes through discipleship here. Because I found that most people haven't truly been discipled. Yeah. They just kind of found themselves in church and picked up what they could. So yeah. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, no, it really does. Thank you. And so me as a future pastor, if you have one thing to tell me, what is that one thing that you would tell me
to begin praying right now for wisdom.
Okay.
Yeah, because if you don't ask, you're not going to get it. Pray for it. You can get wisdom one of 2 ways, I feel. One, by the School of Hard Knocks, and it teaches you things, and you're like, okay, I'm not going to do that again. Or by asking God for it. And so many people don't think to do that. But if you think to daily ask God for wisdom, He'll begin to give it to you.
Well, Pastor John Bates, thank you so much. I really appreciate you just giving me the time to be here.
Welcome.
I appreciate everything you do. Thank you.